Cowboys Nation, your boy Mike Tag here. You can see got some new digs, so checking it out. I got to change things up if you know what I mean, and we'll get into that for sure. But make sure if you guys are new to the channel, just checking it out, hit that subscribe if you're not subscribed already. If you are watching this video, hit that like button, hit that little thumbs up. It don't cost you nothing. Also, hit the alerts because that's going to give you every time we hit live or do a recording, it's going to let you know that we just dropped it. We got a lot of things going on. Obviously, still going through some tough times. I haven't even worn my Cowboys gear yet. I just haven't had the heart to muster it up, and just still disappointed and embarrassed. And got this in the mail to really add salt to the wounds. It was good looking sees everything playoff shirt because I couldn't make the game. So I had one of my buddies pick it up for me, unfortunately. So not sure what I'm gonna do with that one, but I promise you I won't be wearing it. Maybe just set it in here as a reminder to motivate you to keep that flame going, to hopefully some redemption. But good news is we got some champions coming into the cave. Cowboys killed win Super Bowl, but we got Tony the Thrill Hill Super Bowl champion coming in the cave this week, and then next week we are having James Washington, two-time Super Bowl champion, coming into the cave. So we got some champions there. We're going to be making you guys feel good as we get to this off season, and it's really an off season where they're going to have to sell us something. You're bringing McCarthy back. I don't have really a big issue with that. Sounds like Dan Quinn's going to come back unless he gets a head coaching job. I can't see him getting a head coaching job. So if he's coming back, there's a lot of things going on in the Cowboys kind of family, between CeeDee Lamb's mom tweeting out some stuff that got deleted, but I know Nick's posted it, and it got a lot of traction. Unfortunately, when you tweet stuff, people are going to find it, and it's something you can't take back. I think Micah Parsons' brother tweeted out some stuff. Dak Prescott's brother tweeting out some stuff, and it's just the world we live in today. Social media, instant reactions to stuff. So you're gonna unfortunately get that kind of noise. Hopefully, it'll eventually go away. But with the Cowboys, I think that's always been the thing that we talk about. That's the tough part with them is they're always going to be at the center of attention and getting headlines. But it got me thinking, and it's talking to my brother. He's a big Broncos fan, and I'm just like depressed, and I'm going through all this. And he goes, man, don't you remember in '96 and calling you up upset, basically crying of what happened to the Broncos? And I had to think about it for a minute, and I said, shit, man, that is right. In 1996, the Denver Broncos were 13-3. It was Mike Shanahan's second season as head coach. You had John Elway, you had Shannon Sharp, Terrell Davis was young, ripping up the league. I think he was in his second year. This team was loaded defensively. They probably one of the best teams never to reach the Super Bowl. And they went in number one seed, went up against a Jacksonville Jaguar team that was young, second year in expansion, I believe it was. And the Denver Broncos at home got beat. And you thought everything in there crumbled. They changed the uniform. That was the last year of the Orange Crush. They had to change the uniform. So you see what I did? I had to change the cave, the studio, go into a mini cave to try and change the mojo because something wasn't working. So that's kind of what happened. And what happened next to them? They kind of regrouped, made a couple key moves, got some free agency acquisitions, and lo and behold, in '97, they go to the Super Bowl and beat the Packers. '98, they go back to the Super Bowl and beat the Falcons. So they really had an opportunity for three straight, but they win two out of three. But a lot of the players, if you talk to them, a lot was learned from that disappointment that made them better. And that disappointment loaded. So I know I'm reaching. I might be grasping. I might be doing something. I'm just trying to find that something positive to try and get the mojo back of feeling a little bit better. But like I said, I think the Cowboys, the key to it is what are they doing in the offseason? They're going to have to do something to give us some excitement. We know the areas of need. I mean, linebacker, running back are the two biggest areas that I think we've all talked about. And we all were hoping that they would have made a move during the season. We all hoped that they would have got a off-season acquisition before the season, especially at running back, just to give Pollard some help because you're really putting all your chips in on him coming off an injury, never being a lead dog. And that's a lot of pressure. And I compared it to Felix Jones. That's just a reminder that I had of it when they kind of made him the man. He was always that uh, Batman or Robin to the Batman of McFadden when he was at Arkansas, and it was kind of the same with the Cowboys early on, and then they kind of made him the lead dog, and it just didn't work out, and it wasn't the same because it took away from what made him special. I think Pollard is the same thing. So Cowboys got to do something to address the running game. Whether you keep Pollard, re-sign him, obviously he's a free agent, but if it worked out a decent deal, and then you bring someone else in that's more of a what you'd call a power back. Then I think you can help with that running game. And it's evident that Dak Prescott is not the quarterback, and there's not many, so this is not a knock on him, is not a quarterback that's going to be able to carry a team all on his own. He's got the receivers. I think that's not an issue. I think the offensive line from a pass protection played well, and I think we've discovered that we might have some potential there. We might have some potential there with some guys, Hoffman and Bass that showed something playing when we had some guys hurt. So maybe the offensive line's got some young blood that can get better and better, and that won't be a concern for us as Zach Martin's getting a little bit older. You're not sure what he's going to do. Tyron Smith's a free agent. Does he come back? Does he retire? I think if the price is right, if he does something similar like he did this year, I'd bring him back. I mean, he was very good when he was in there. Obviously, got second team All Pro, so he had to have been playing at a good level. He missed a few games, but that's going to be expected. And if you got the depth behind him, then you kind of workload management for him, and hopefully you get him when you need him most. Defensive side, I think you've got to really take a hard look at a lot of things. Obviously, the linebacker is the biggest area, and really playmakers, and what I mean playmakers and dogs. We need more dogs. We need more physical guys, and that's why my son did a draft thing, and he put Cam Kitchens from Miami. And I say you always got to have some guys from the U. You never, Michael Irvin always said it, and you look at the teams from the '90s; they were loaded with guys at Miami. They were loaded with Hurricanes. But Cam Kitchens, I'm not saying to draft him, but he's one of those guys. I've seen him play at Miami the last few years. He's a playmaker. He's always around the ball. He's a blue collar kind of safety, hard hitter. Plays tough. So that's the kind of wherever position we get, that's what we need. We got enough of the glam. We need them hungry guys. That's what I say, with this team is we need to get some hungry guys on this team. We're going to go through it. We're going to look at it, but really Cowboys Nation, that's really, what I had. Besides from checking the mics and checking in with you guys, maybe I'll do a live show either tonight or tomorrow. During some of the playoffs and just talk about things. But, look at that 96. If you're too young to look at it, Google the 96 Broncos, 13-3, number one seed, everything going well, got bounced by a second year expansion team in the Jaguars that were 9-7 in the divisional round because the Broncos got the bye. Obviously, that was when two teams got the number one seed, but they were the number one seed anyway. So that's kind of what my thought was of the day. Again, I'm watching a lot of the content creators, watching a lot of stuff, and I know, believe me, the Cowboys. I get it. There's a culture issue. We've talked about it. I've talked about it for as long as I've been around with Jerry Jones. There's just something there, and it's got to change. I'm not upset with McCarthy coming back. I think if you look at the offense and kind of look what they did some good things. I think there's areas that they can fix, and it comes down to Jerry. He's the general manager. He's got to be more aggressive in free agency. He's got to be more all in. They've got to do something to win some hope, get some hope back into the fan base. Cause right now it's about as disappointed and a fragile fan base as I've seen. I mean, they're turning on everybody. There's nobody that is above it. Every player is getting hit with shrapnel from fans, and a lot of it's it comes with the territory. But it's like I said, no position. If I was the GM or I was the coach of the Cowboys, no position safe. It is open competition. Trey Lance, you want to compete with Dak Prescott? Have at it. Best man win. I think competition creates uh, a lot better play. I think it builds a locker room. I think it does a lot of positive things. I think Jimmy Johnson always just say, you never want anyone feeling comfortable. And maybe the Cowboys, some of these, the way the culture's set with Jerry is there's a level of comfortability. There's never been really anyone to challenge, Dak Prescott at quarterback. And you see these teams. What do the Packers do? They drafted Jordan Love when Aaron Rodgers was still there, and Aaron Rodgers won MVPs after they drafted him. Do you think it lit a fire under him? They drafted Aaron Rodgers when Brett Favre was still playing. You don't think, and Brett Favre had some of his better years. You don't think that lit a fire under him? So, there's nothing wrong with it. Plus, you got to plan for the future. You don't know what's going to happen. So, I think the Cowboys have got to strike some gold in this draft. But more importantly, they can't lean on the draft. They can't. That's the problem that they've done, and you've seen it with some of their draft picks. They put all the pressure on these draft picks that they got to come in and be impact players from day one. And that's a lot to ask kids coming out of college. Some are going to be able to do it and some aren't, but you're asking a lot of them, a lot of your draft class to do it because you're not picking up the free agents to help fill in some of the holes and just use those draft picks as depth and use them as rotational guys to ease them in a little bit. And I think that's one of the things. So it puts a lot of pressure. And if they can't handle the pressure, then you see what happens. You saw it happen, the year before last with Jalen Tolbert. They're drafting him and they put all the pressure on him to be the man, and he just struggled with it. But he showed some promise this year, and I think he's going to take that next step next year. But that's what the Cowboys really got to do. But again, hopefully we get this thing going. Hopefully, not like the new digs. I'm trying to make things a little bit better. I've been moving my equipment and doing all this stuff in the Cowboys cave, and I finally talked my wife into let me take a little piece of a room. Nothing much. I mean, a little piece. Bed's still over there. Everything's still good, but it allows me to be a little bit easier, make my life easier, recording videos and be a little bit more efficient. So got my Mike Tyson, if you guys know Mike Tyson's Punch Out from back to the day, that's my signed Mike Tyson Punch Out picture. So I had to throw that in there. So everything's Cowboys, but I got to throw my Mike Tyson in there because Mike Tyson's Punch Out, that was the game of our era. That was the baddest game that you could play, get the Mike Tyson. So anyway, hopefully you guys are having a good weekend. It's going to be painful. It's going to be painful watching some of these playoff games. I'm going to have a hard time doing it. I don't know who to root for. The football in me and the story and the everything good about it wants to see Detroit and Buffalo, right? Feels good. But the Cowboy fan in me wants to see Kansas City win the Super Bowl. That way, no one else can say anything. Kansas City's won because I know if Buffalo wins, they're going to be coming at us. Detroit wins, they're going to be coming at us. So um, the easiest thing for me is for Kansas City to win, easiest on the mind. But like I said, the fun football side of me, they get a storyline in the Super Bowl like a Detroit Buffalo would be a lot of fun. So anyway, you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. If you're checking it today, if you're checking it tomorrow, have a good Sunday, good weekend, all that stuff. We'll be back live on Monday, but may drop something over the weekend. My wife's in Vegas, enjoying her weekend, so your boy's home. So I may get a little bored, may jump on may do a like Kelly, may a little late night video, go live and hang with Cowboys Nation. But we'll be talking to you soon. You guys take care. Have a great rest of your day.